Okay, 30-minute 5-second game. Just attacking the pawn. Put the queen out. Let's hit this pawn in the center, see if there's an exchange of the queens. They might not want to be interested. Let's just hit it. In this long series, looking at the fear factor. Do we appreciate the fear of our pieces? Okay, so they're not capturing. Might as well put a check on the king. Don't really want to take their queen off the board because it develops their knight, which attacks our pawn. So kind of one move behind. Sometimes we will take, and sometimes we don't. On this occasion, we're not taking. Yeah, so looking at the fear element, let's just take this off the board. If there's that element of fear in the game, then it kind of jolts you into motivating to find better moves for your pieces, rather than putting them on squares or pieces that are unsafe for them. So we can take this and double the pawn, so we're striking first blood in terms of weaknesses. So that's the starter for 10, actually establishing a weakness of type. So now we're attacking their weak pawn, but also looking to make space for castling as well. Just bring the knight out supporting the pawn. So that was an area of weakness. Puts the fear into us, but it gives us motivation to develop our knight, supporting a pawn. So we've still got two pieces developed at the minute. We're looking to try and get the dark square bishop out, but we might... Oh, now that looks like they're giving us an extra pawn just straight from there. So it's not understanding that the move that you're going to make might be a bit dangerous for yourself. That's where that element of the understanding fear. Are you actually putting yourself in danger rather than feeling like you're safe? So we get to double pawns again with a check on the king, and we get to save our G pawn with king castle. Obviously their rook is going to come and put up some pressure onto our G pawn. It is easily defended, but just to be annoying, let's just put a check on the king. Get a bit of tempo. Is there any space for our dark square bishop to come out? The element of the fear is always the fact that this G pawn is attacked by the bishop and the rook. So really, defending that pawn is going to be straightforward by pushing. But sometimes you can miss some gold when you're just defending a simple defense. So we've blocked off their attack. Now we're looking to see if we can get our dark square bishop out, because we've got a pin through onto their rook, onto their bishop, sorry, by our rook onto their king. Is there an element of getting our dark square bishop to actually attack their bishop, or even take a pawn off the board because the bishop's in front of their king? Might be a bit long drawn out process. Positionally, don't feel too fearful because I feel like we're giving them things to think about. They've got an isolated pawn on the c, they've got double pawns at the side of the king, and they've got a pinned bishop to the king at this moment. So it seems to be more more positives here in this particular game anyway. But as we know, they've gone and castled, and our bishop can actually take the pawn because it's going to be on a higher piece. I know the rook could have taken the bishop, but why not take the opportunity to actually see if we can get a higher piece off the board? But they've actually skewered their rook. there's probably a better move they could have done, which would have maybe made us pay the price for taking the pawn with the bishop, because they could have maybe brought it to g7. But it looks like they're still playing on. Okay, we'll take the rook. And yeah, so he could have gone onto the g7 with the rook maybe and just put pressure on the bishop, because then we wouldn't have been able to take the bishop. Could have put a check on their king, but we probably wouldn't have been able to take the bishop because the rook is defending the bishop. So small things like that there, I didn't appreciate the full fear factor of that type of situation. So in essence, we can just take this pawn off the board with the bishop. And you know, narration mode kills me sometimes. I could have just taken the bishop off the board with the rook, but no worries, we're up material and these things happen. I didn't show enough fear myself in the game in terms of, is this a proper viable position? But eyeing up the position that the bishop can put a check on, we may, if we get a tempo win and he doesn't move the bishop out of the way, we could put a check on their king. And oh dear, that does not look good, because it looks like our bishop is just taking the rook off the board. So I think we both fell a little bit foul of not appreciating the full fear factor in terms of, was that a good place for your piece to go? So from both sides, these elements are key.